everyone, welcome to another Overrated Film Saturday, and today I am going to be discussing How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and I'm going to be discussing the Jim Carrey movies, so don't get yourself all up in a knot here. We're talking about a film, not a book, because I talked about the book just on Wednesday, so now we're going to dive into a film that was really trying to capture that Who magic, as we like to probably call it. But I think, unfortunately, this has resulted in not such a good adaptation. Even though I do overall like it, probably for Jim Carrey, because, I mean, just his expressions and how he tries to go all out with the performance, I think sort of serves the story purpose, and I like how they kind of expand a little bit with the Who sort of universe, I guess you could say, and there's a little bit more depth to it. But again, at the same time, that depth is limited when you throw in a bunch of cliches and things like that the film does try to put in. But I'm gonna kind of try to explain my thoughts and as to why I think it is a little bit oversaturated during the holiday season. Now, what I mean by Jim Carrey his performance being funny, in my opinion, is because he does what he does best. I think choosing him was a good choice as far as casting is concerned. However, the writing is, I think, the biggest issue that this adaptation faces. Ooh, the writing. Jim Carrey tries so hard with these jokes. Like, he is trying his hardest to make something out of it. You can tell he's putting in his all, and he has all of this energy. And that's why I find so much fun to watch, actually, just because of the fact that he just has such this presence on screen. But when you put it in this really bad writing scheme that they have going for the film, it doesn't suit the film really all that well, especially when there's a lot of jokes. When you really get down to the jokes, they're not really all that funny. The only reason that they become sort of funny is because of Jim Carrey trying to put on a performance. And I think really the writing was a major issue with this film, and seems to be why the Nostalgia Critic and others have said that this film is kind of not on par with the original, or even the cartoon that was adapted from this. Now, there's another part of this film that I think sort of deters it, and again, that's trying to, sort of be the pop, hip movie by having, I believe her name's Faith Hill, I could be wrong, I think she was a country singer, like country pop or something. Some country pop singer did a song for this movie, and again, it's sort of like the cliche kind of, sort of, I mean, the song is nice, it's just her singing it, I don't think really works, sort of similar to, again, Celine Dion with My Heart Will Go On. And when Cindy Lou, within the film, tries to sing it, ooh, it sounds so off. Like, they needed to give that girl some voicing lessons or something, because her voice is just, it's so breathy, and it really doesn't sound like she's trying. I think also the other performances sort of deter this film from being something of substance, because there's really not a whole lot to the other characters. Although I'll admit Cindy Lou is at least a little bit smart and has sort of a brain. But apparently everybody else, all of the Who's, Cindy's the only smart one. Every one of them else is really probably below 100 IQ. Like, I mean, they are so overwhelmed by consumerism, and I think it's just the extremity that they took to it might have deterred the film as far as writing wise, and I think that's why we get into these cliche kinds of territories, where we have the Grinch who ultimately hates Christmas, and then they give a whole explanation as to why that is, and it's very, it feels very cliche because again they put in all of these ideas of people being spoiled and self-centered, and the Grinch is very giving, and then they sort of shove it back into his face, um, and especially when he tries to give one of the girls a present, that. But I think that whole thing was getting somewhere. Again, it's not as in depth, but I think it's still sort of identifiable. It just needed a little bit, I think, of tinkering with the writing, because the writing, I think, is it's really it's really the nail in the coffin for this movie because of the writing. I think it really, 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 really brings it down to a level of unenjoyment. And when this film is showcased every single year on Christmas or around Christmas time, it gets kind of tiresome, especially when you start seeing all of these kinds of flaws within it. Um, and I really do still find myself enjoying it despite its problems, but I still think that there are significant problems with this film, and I think to put it alongside like It's a Wonderful Life and keep playing it is kind of just overstaying its welcome. I mean, it's really, really gotten overboard. I mean, even Universal is trying to use this film to sort of cash in um, during the holiday season. Like they'll have a Grinchmas. I'm not kidding you, a Grinchmas, and they'll have a Hootry. But that's actually really cute, at least what they do with it. But again, it sort of still reminds you of the film, and it takes you back to all the flaws within it, and you kind of go, okay, I've seen plenty. All right, okay, I'm not gonna watch this movie this year. It just kind of overstays, I think, as a Christmas film. It seems to still stay in the subconscious of people, and I understand. I mean, I personally don't dislike this film, but again, I will acknowledge when I think it's gotten too much exposure, and I think personally for what it is, it's gotten too much exposure, and I think it's um, too it's just too out there, um, and it's based on things that we've seen before, and it tries to do, I think, something with the Grinch story that I think is unique, because I mean the other version pretty much stayed true to Dr. Seuss. Um, and again, you kind of had to do that too if you want to make it feature length. I like too how it references the song, and Jim Carrey's voice is actually pretty good when he sings parts of the song, but and I like it when they reference the lines and things like that. But again, there's still some things that I think really deter it because of the writing, because of the story, because of the way things are executed. It kind of comes off as too much of a extreme. They needed to give, I think, a little bit of the Who's a little bit more depth. I think they needed to make Cindy Lou a little bit less bland and not the smartest person in that place. Um, and I think they needed to give Jim Carrey some better lines. Had they done that, I think it would have worked as far as a Dr. Seuss adaptation. And I can understand why people, feel insulted if, because I mean Dr. Seuss, although he is, you can say he's comic with his writing, he's not really a comedian, and a lot of the films have been based around comedy, like The Cat in the Hat and stuff like that. But I think I rhymed there. I rhymed once. So yeah, I think this adaptation could have worked as far as a comedic perspective and kind of satirizes it a bit. Could it have been maybe a little bit more adult? Yeah, I guess so. I think either they could have gone the adult PG route, and made it a little bit more PG. And again, not inserting, the dog, kissing the dude's butt. That was a little bit much. The whole um the whole scene of Jim Carrey, you know, going through all of the Who's at one point and landing in an inappropriate spot probably wasn't the best comedic choice. And yes, I will say there are some things that are a little bit too borderline and are not really as entertaining or funny. Um, but I think what makes it stand out is the fact that Jim Carrey is trying to put on a performance here and he's trying to carry it through. And I think sort of certain parts of the story are okay and we're trying to get it somewhere, but at the same time, I feel that there could have been a lot more work that could have made this film a lot better. But I think it's still overrated for the fact that it's pushed down, I think, probably everybody's throat, at least I think in the United States. Every Christmas this movie comes on. It's constantly referenced, and the fact that again they do it every year at Universal, the Grinchmas, and then they dress everything up like it wasn't the actual movie, and try to reference the movie. I just think it's a Christmas film that's overstayed its welcome and doesn't need to be here. It it belongs maybe once play it once every year, but when you have so much exposure to the point where yeah, we're gonna showcase this at a park and we're going to have this be on different channels every single Christmas and it gets kind of tiresome and I don't think it's warranted to be honest, but I will acknowledge that even though I think it's enjoyable, I still think that there's a lot of things that are bad about it and I don't really care for, and I don't think it should stand on the same level as some other Christmas films. So yeah, that's why I'm taking this one down a notch and saying, look, I think we've had enough. We don't need any more. We got it. We got it. Okay, Jim Carrey's funny. Yeah, we get it. Okay. Um, so yeah, I think that's really the main reason why it became overrated. I think largely based upon its source material and because again, How the Grinch Stole Christmas is probably one of the more famous Dr. Seuss books. So I think it makes only more sense that the adaptations would get a similar amount of exposure. But this one I don't think is as good of an adaptation as the original, but at the same time I don't dislike it. Um, but I will acknowledge that I think it is a little bit too much overhyped for what it is. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year. And I'm posting Saturday's video today on this lovely Thursday evening because I am not going to be around this weekend because I'm busy. If you would like a holiday card, feel free to let me know, and I would love to send you a thumbnail picture. If you also would, if you would like just a regular picture and not the specifically thumbnail picture, let me know. I'd be more than happy to send you one because I'd love to send one to people to thank them for tuning in. And also, again, I want to re-emphasize that this will be my last week at That Guy with the Glasses. I know that his website is moving over to another website. The problem is I don't know how that website works. I've tried figuring it out, but it still confuses me. So I'm probably not going to post on there my content. So all of my content will probably be from YouTube from now on. I could probably make like an update, and because I know that you can comment on stuff and post things. I don't think videos, but I might post like links if that were possible. I still don't get though how it works. It looks a lot cleaner, and I think they did a really good job with the new website. I just don't know how it works. It's confusing. So it's not as clear, as it would be nice if they had like a profile section, and they kind of don't for this one. So I'm really confused as to how it works, and so I'm probably not going to stick with it. So if you want to stay in tune onto what other content I'm making, then YouTube's probably the best way to go, because I don't think I'll be able to post it onto that guy with glasses anymore after this week. So Sunday's video will still be posted on that guy with the glasses, but then after that, done. But yeah, that's all of the updates. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year.